Welcome to the next video. In the in the previous videos, we were working towards building out a music library, and in the library, basically we created several pages. We had the ability to register, to log in. We had the ability to see albums. Right? So if we came to the albums page and we were a validated user, then we could add new albums, we could edit, delete, etc. If we weren't a validated user, we would get a screen without those links. The problem is our site right now is dependent upon the person knowing there's very few links in it, really. So if I want to go to registration, I'd actually have to know there's a registration.php page. So what we're going to do here today is I've already added a footer, so I'm just going to review how that was done. And then we're going to add a common header, and the header will actually handle all of our navigation requirements. So let's go into PHP here for a second, PHP Storm. And in here, what you'll see, just like our db.php file, which had all of our common database connections, I did the same type of thing with the footer. So after the body, tags, we always had these exact same three scripts that we were including into the page. And all I did really was add in this footer class equals navbar fixed bottom, which is a bootstrap class. And then on each page that is user facing, right at the very bottom, one little line says require once footer.php. So that would put the footer on every single page. And what's great is it's actually shortening the amount of code we have to type on each page, because once we get to the main, the closing of the main, we don't have to really type anything else. Everything's already included in our footer file. So the next thing that I want to do is create this header with some navigation links so that we can figure out our way around the site. So I'm going to click on here and go new PHP file. I'm going to call it header. Oops. I had created in a previous video that didn't go so well. My editor died on me. So now I'm using YouTube. Just delete that file. Now we have our standard PHP file. And the way I'm going to create the header is just by looking at what's common with all of my pages. Well, all of my pages, I'm going to include the bootstrap classes. And all my pages, minus these $signs, are going to have a title. Okay? So from here to here, from line 1 to 13, I'm always going to have the exact same information. The only thing that's really going to change is the title. So I'm just going to copy this and go to my header page here and paste it in. Now, to deal with the name of the page, the title, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a variable here. And that allows us to pass information into this file. So I'm going to go to PHP. And in here, I'll say echo and whatever my page title is. So I'll create a variable called page title. Let's just use this right now and see how that goes. So this is our album details page. So require once. .php. And if I do this, go to our album details page. Our album details page loads normally, but it looks like we've got a little bit of problem with our title up here. So let's go and take a look at what's going on with our title. Here, we need to actually set the page title before we load the page. I'm going to say page title equals album details. Hit save. Okay. Now, if we reload it, it looks just like we expected from before, right? It says album details up here where the title should go. Everything else looks the same. All of our Bootstrap classes have obviously loaded because we can see evidence of it right here. Or if we went to view page source, this is actually quite interesting. You know, really our page here, we have a header.php file, our actual PHP, and then at the bottom we have more this footer.php file. So we actually have several files being added in here. So we also have our database connection. So when we go and we look at the actual source here, though, you won't see that. The source, let me zoom in a bit here for you, looks as if it's all just one big file, right? See how it's added this in? It doesn't look any different. It doesn't look like it's comprised of multiple files. And this is very common when we're building things that we'll actually use several different files and compose a page. What's returned from our Apache web server will be just HTML. So it'll be one coherent document for the browser to load. So let's add in, zoom back out here. So let's add in our header to all the other files. So we have album details. Actually, let's go to the top here. I'm going to copy this and then go to albums. So I can just paste that over top, change the title, save. And now my albums page looks fine. And we do the same thing on the registration page. Save. Okay, so my title is good. It looks like it's loaded all my Bootstrap classes. The last page we have is our login page. And if we go here now, this looks great too. So now all of our pages have this common header file. And this really enables us to do a lot of things a lot more quickly now that we're sharing all the code in one spot. So in our header, what we need to do now is we need to create some way of navigating between the different. So to do that, what I'm going to do is actually use a nav bar. So let's pull this up. So start and end tags. And I'm going to do an unordered list here. I'm going to fill it with links. Albums page. And we can go to our registration page. And we can go to our login page. Save. Now, if I hit refresh, right at the top here, now I have some navigation, and I can go to all my different pages by clicking on them. Now, it doesn't it doesn't look great. Typically what you'd see is some kind of nice horizontal bar here with these links done horizontally instead of vertically with bullets. It really doesn't match between the two parts of the page at all. But that's okay. That's where the Bootstrap's going to come into play. So we can incorporate a few different classes here. So do navbar inverts. So if I do that, it's going to give me some color. Okay. And you can see, gives it a little bit more feel. And then down here at the list level, we can add in a class as well. If I hit refresh again, now it actually looks kind of professional, right? And we can go to all our different screens really quickly. So we have our header, our footer, and then we have our links. Now, this doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense right now, in the sense that this particular user is authenticated. I know that because I can see these edit, delete, and add new album links. So it doesn't really make sense for someone that's already authenticated to register, nor does it make sense for them to log in. It would make sense for them to have the ability to log out. So we're going to add in some of that behavior now. So first, let's just make our header file a little bit more responsive to, whether or not the user is currently in a session or not. Now, when we did this before, so if we look at that albums page, the way we did it before is we started a session. So down here, right, we checked if the person currently had an active session, right? If they had an email in the session array, then we knew that they could have access to edit and delete functions, right? So that's what these are. This is edit and delete. So we're going to do something similar here. Actually, just to take it one more step further, the process was when someone logs in, it goes to this validate page. And in the validate page, we basically had a password that the user typed in. This is the password that was in the database. And if those two match, it starts a session. It sets the session email variable. And then it redirects to the albums page. So we can use the same concept in our header file. So what we're going to do is we really want to show. So let's do HP. We really only want to show registration and login if the user is not logged in. Okay, so to do that, we're going to say session start. Okay, so that gives us access to the session variable. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to say if the session email is empty. So if it's empty, and I want to echo these links. Okay, so I want to display these links only if that session is empty. Once we have logout, then we'll say else logout down here. Okay. Now let's refresh. So the user's logged in, so those links went away. But I got this notice here. It says the session's already been started, ignoring session start in the albums on line 9. So let's get rid of that. So we go to albums on line 9. See here, we've already loaded the header. So we've already started a session for this page. And then here on line 9, we also started a session. So I'm just going to get rid of that. Save. And we hit refresh. Okay. Okay. So you see how now it seems to make a little more sense. Now, it seems odd to me to have a link here and a link up here. So I'm going to add this new album, add a new album link up into the navigation up here. But I only want to see it if the user is logged in. So if we go to our header page, I can say else. So if they're not logged in, or if they are logged in, add a new album. So I no longer need to have this link here because I can see it in my navigation up here. So if I go to my albums page, so here we said we can actually get rid of this line altogether now, right? Because this was the link to add a new album. Save. If I go back, looks good. And if I look at the same site in a different browser where I'm not logged in, okay, I still get this my navigation bar, and I can go to the albums page, but I can't add an album, I can't edit albums, I can't delete albums. I can, however, register, or I can log in. And if I were to log in, now I have access to the edit and delete functions. So the last thing that we want to do is we need the ability to log out, because it's going to be really hard to test this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a link to log out to our navigation pane here as well. So we go to our header file, and basically down here, just add a little comment. These are links. I haven't created this page yet, so it'll go to a 404. Save. Now, if I refresh, now I've got this log out capability. So it's going to give me a 404 error, which is fine. But now we have the ability to log out. So I'm going to add this log out page, and then that's going to be it for this video. Because the logout is actually a very easy page to add. So I'm going to go new PHP file, logout. On this file, I don't need the headers and footers because our users are never going to see this page. It sort of happens so fast they won't see it. So all we're going to do in this page here, I'm going to have my PHP, and I need to access the current session. This looks the same as we did before. We start a session because the way PHP works is it's a stateless. Each time you load a new page, it doesn't remember what was on the old page. So you have to start the session, and basically we need to terminate it. You can see there's a method in here called destroy, and that gets rid of all of our session variables. And then we're just going to relocate login screen. Save. Now if I hit refresh, it takes me to the login screen. And if I go to my albums page, I can't edit things. I can't add any. I can go to register. I can go to log in. I can log in, and I get all my functionality back. There's our new album. Okay, so I'm going to stop it here. But we added a lot there. So we've got our nice active header. We've got our footer, and we've got our ability to log out. See you in the next video when we add default homepage and 404s, how to handle 404 errors.